Hello, welcome to live online training with myself, Mark Cartwright. This afternoon we're going to have a look at share and how can we share with colleagues, with students and kind of beyond essentially. So this session was done live on Thursday, and if you join me live as well, thank you very much for joining that. And if you do want to join live for the next one as well, then I'll leave the link below so we can have those more conversations and ask questions during the session as well. But obviously if any questions pop up during this one, then feel free to pop them underneath or email me directly and then we'll sort that out as well. So talking about kind of emailing me directly, there are my details there, markhartwright@smarttech.com, or if you want to reach out on Twitter, feel free to do so as well, and we'll get that together. So, right, today's objectives. So what we're going to look at is, like I said at the beginning, share. How can I share my lesson to teachers, whether I'm using Lumio, which is an online platform, or Smart Notebook, which is a piece of software that sits on your Windows machine or on your Mac as well. So we're going to look at sharing it with students, whether that's live during the lesson, or looking at sharing it through Teams or Google Classroom, or any other kind of learning platform if you want to share that as well. And then we're going to look at how to share it with others. That's kind of beyond that as well. How can you share just a general community as well, social-wise, or through an online bank of resources. And then we're going to land with looking at ambassadors and how can we share within that community as well. So let's start with Notebook, as we're in Notebook. So Smart Notebook is a free download for everybody to use, whether that's you're using on a smart board itself or you're not using on a smart board. You can use that. If you just download Smart Notebook 21, just Google that and you'll be able to find the answers to that. And that's this program here. Once we're in this one, we can then open it up. We can create the lessons any way we want. Previous videos on this stream here, we'll look at Create. So if you want to have a look at those, then feel free to do those there. And then once you've got it, you can go File, Save As, and then you can save it like a normal document. So you can see here I've saved it to the desktop. But if I want to save it to anywhere else, I can. And it does save it as a Smart Notebook file. But like I said, Smart Notebook is a free download. So if you are sharing it with anybody as well, they can, of course, download that software and then they can open up that file and use it as well. Also within this one here, if I want to go File and Save, and obviously just jumping back to where I was at the moment, once you've saved it on your desktop or anywhere else, you can just email that file or post it on a secure part of your drive or put it on a memory stick or wherever way you normally do it. You can distribute it that way as well. And of course, that is including uploading it into OneDrive or onto Google Drive or anywhere else as well. The other way to share it is here. It's surprise, surprise with this share button. So if I click on File and Share, then if I click on that share button, it gives me a link here. So now it gives me a share sheet here and I can upload it to my Smart account. And because I've signed into my account here using my teacher email address, either for a beginning of a free trial, or if I have got that Smart account, it's just one license for everything. And now I can upload that to my Smart account there. And now what it's going to do is going to take it into my Smart account, which I can access directly from the board, or of course through Lumio. And then I've got to get a shared link to that one. So there is my shared link to this lesson. I can then copy that link there, and then I can paste that lesson. I can send it to anybody else so they can have full access to that lesson as well. They can download it. Or of course, if I just paste it into a web browser, I've now can see my lesson here. And if I want to just work through it here in a moment, there we go. If I want to just work through that lesson here and see these different points here, which we were just looking at, then I can. Or of course, if I want to actually save it to my Lumio lesson or I want to download that because it was a notebook file in the first place, I can. Or of course, if you want to share it to the wider community, then feel free to do so with those links down there as well. So that is through that share sheet there, through the File, Share. So we can save it, we can share it, and that is done straight from Smart Notebook itself. Like I said, that's that desktop piece of software. If I want to jump to Lumio now, this is my online resource. So to get to Lumio, you can go to Lumio, lum.io. And if I just refresh this browser now, you'll be able to see that the one that I've just uploaded to my Smart account will be on there. So like I said, Lumio, lum.io will take you to this place here. You'll be able to sign in again with your same Smart account, which is your just teacher email address. And once you're in there, you'll be able to actually have your lesson and be able to interact it and very much make it an active learning place for you and for your students as well. If you want to know more about that, obviously there's previous videos in it as well. Or if you just go to Lumio, lum.io, then there's some great videos to find out some more about that as well. So there is this lesson that I've just shared from my notebook, and now it is on here. So if I have got any lessons that I've got in Notebook, or even some of the previous ones that I've looked at, or I might have created one, how am I going to share that with my students? How am I going to share it with colleagues as well? So if you just want to share it with that live teaching, what we're doing now, you can start your lesson just by clicking on it, like I've just done here. And then if you want to get the people here, the people involved, the students then, or anybody else, goes to hellosmart.com, you go to that website and it's going to ask you to sign as a guest, ask you for your class code, which is that one there, and then they can sign in and actually be part of your live lesson. So you're sharing live with them at the same time. But there are other ways to do it as well. We looked at that one a little bit longer through the other videos, so feel free to go back and look at those. What I'd really like to do is to share this in a way where we don't have to be live in the lesson to be able to access it. So that's through this shared link here. So I clicked on these 3 dots, and then I clicked share link. And now I've got share link, surprise, surprise, it gives me these links. And if I click on this top one here, it says get teacher link. Now this teacher link here is the way that I can share it with other colleagues. I can then copy that one. It's going to give that, I can then send that out to anybody, a group WhatsApp, whatever it might be between staff. It might be just in an email, whatever it might be. You can then share that with the other teachers, with other colleagues, and they can then have that lesson and be able to teach directly from that, and that will put it into their Lumio account. If they haven't got a Lumio account, then they can sign up and use one for free. That's not a problem. You've got a trial of that one, so they can have a go and actually teach from that lesson there. The other one here is to share it with your students. So if I click get student access, I can copy that one. Now I've copied that one, now I can share it to anybody as well, using it as well. Now obviously if you're using Google Classroom and Microsoft Teams, if you want to just share a link, you can do it that way. If you're going to do it through Seesaw, or through Canva, or through Class Dojo, or a secure part of your learning platform, your school website, then feel free to do that one. Any way you'd normally share text or a link with students, that will work through that as well, and then students will be able to access that lesson in that as well. Just to jump in a little bit deeper with that one, if I do go into the Google side of things as well, you can see this is my Google Drive here, and then here there's an array of different lessons, and there's little Firefly ones here. These are my Lumio lessons ready to deliver to my students. So if I just now jump into Google Classroom, in my Google Classroom itself, click on the class, I want to actually send them the link there, or actually embed the lesson. So in my classwork, I can create anyone that I want. I'm just going to go for an assignment for now. And then if I just jump into my Google Drive, I can see that here, these are the PowerPoint, Google Slides, and this one here, this is my Lumio lesson here. So if I click on that Lumio lesson here, now I can send it out as part of my Google Classroom, click Insert, and you can see that it's embedded there, and then I can use the kind of normal rubric to kind of go through and to work that lesson out. I either have it as a pre-teaching, or have it ready for the class, or actually just post it afterwards so they've got that lesson for a recap, or even just supporting parents or anything like that as well for that assignment. Similarly, if I go through Microsoft Teams, you can see here that I've got the app at the side. I can just click on these 3 dots and find the Lumio by Smart app. And then when this here, all my lessons will appear on here. I haven't signed in, oops. But then my lessons will appear on here, and I can access them and actually deliver them through Teams here. Or if I did want to just post them to an individual team, you can see here's my team here, and this is where I can post the different lessons with a new conversation at the bottom there. Or if I did want to add them to the top here, you can see I could just choose from the tab, choose from the Lumio by Smart lesson, and then actually embed that one into the top stream as well. But it's not going to load, but you get the gist of it. Oh, there it goes. And there's the Smart one there as well. So I'm just going to cancel that so don't clog that one up. So on that link there, we've looked at how can I share it with teachers in Notebook, file save or file share. I've looked at looking at it through Lumio. So Lumio is the online platform where I've got my lessons here, my 3 dots, and I can share with a link, either to teachers or to students. And what else can I look for here? The other one is how can I then share it beyond that to others and looking at their lessons? And equally, how can I access some of that stuff that others have shared as well? So a couple of places to look for. First of all is the Smart Exchange. Now Smart Exchange is content.smarttech.com as a website, or if you do want to just search for Smart Exchange, and you'll be able to find that as well. And here there's loads of different resources you can go for. There's some like full lessons they've done. There's some really great activities, or just some really good templates for using that as well, that you can either put into Lumio or into Smart Notebook for those as well. So there's some really good content within there as well. An additional place here is actually within Lumio. So if I had this lesson here that we had at the beginning, if I just now click on those three dots, rather than going share link, I can actually edit this one. So if I go to edit this lesson here, I can add in lots of different resources. And that is actually on this shared box here. So if I wanted to search for templates, if I wanted to search for some well-being activities, some maths resources, some fractions, figurative language, whatever it might be, I can search for that tool there and actually embed that into my lesson and make that lesson a better lesson to be able to more engaging, more appropriate for my learners there as well. All the lessons that it does look at are actually in this explore resources. So yes, you might want to actually add them to your lesson that you created itself, but if you want to just actually start from the beginning and explore the resources, there are absolutely loads in here of some really good lessons for you to just start teaching now if you like. There's some good maths ones looking at using the Desmos. There's some ones around using connections that matter, emotional literacy, managing your classrooms. There's some fantastic wellbeing ones in there from Glue, and there's lots of others, mostly made by ex-teachers that are now working for Smart, a bit like myself, or some of them are current teachers that are the Smart ambassadors and actually sharing those with us as well. And you can see there's loads of stuff within there as well. So, on that kind of note there, the last point that we're going to look at today was the ambassadors. So if I just jump down into this link here and actually start this lesson. So Smart Ambassadors is a great community where you really can share. It might be lesson content, it might be tips and tricks, it might just be a professional learning network where we can come together and share our problems or learn from each other or just have a good old chinwag if you like. So moving down here, it is for all educators, whether that's teachers, trainees, or people that want to teach or just working within education. It's just that melting pot of all those great minds coming together. And it's a place where we can connect, we can build that professional learning network across the globe, and it's where we can learn new tricks, some new ideas, share some resources, find some resources. It might be showcasing yourself, it might be seeing others showcase themselves and what they do and learning from them that are sharing those things. And of course, there's some exclusive perks as well. And if you're part of the community, you'll find out a little bit more about those as well. And it's a tiered system, so obviously we'll come in, and the more you communicate, the more active you are, then you'll get invited to kind of jump up the stage as well, which is always nice to be rewarded in that sense. So if you do want to be part of that community, we'd love to see more of to see some of you in part of that as well. And you can either drop me an email asking me for some more detail of that. Again, I'll put that below. Or if you want to have a look at the details themselves, I'll put the link to the Smart Ambassador website, and feel free to apply, and we can be in touch and see where we can take that as well. But great to have you on board for that as well. So on that kind of point here, I'm just kind of going to begin to finish with a challenge for you. What can you share? Is that sharing a notebook file with somebody, a colleague or myself? And that by going file, save as, and emailing it or something like that. It might be file, share, and sending a link. It might be you've got a lesson in Lumio, and then within Lumio, there we go. And now within Lumio, you're looking at the three dots and sharing a link there. That's either a student link or a teacher link. Or it might be sending it to the Exchange itself as well. So once you're in the Exchange, once you've signed in, you can share that resource as well. So I'd really like to challenge you this week and really say, how can you share that resource with somebody else? Whichever way you want. Or of course, if you want to share it with me, I'd be more than welcome to that, and I'd love to see some of your lessons with that as well. If you are putting it on social media, then just use that hashtag #WeAreSmart, then we can all see each other's together for that as well. Looking at social media itself here, there are the different channels there, so feel free to choose your one you want. We have slightly tweaked the Instagram one to go_Lumio, so have a look at that, and there's some great resources, particularly focused around the Lumio side of things as well. There were some really good questions that popped up during the live session, so I'm just going to jump out to those now and answer some of those live questions, and then pop back into this here.
We go over a few points to look at Smart Ink and how we can use that on our boards as well here. So type away with the questions and we'll come back to those in a moment. But for now, I'm just going to minimize all this and we're going to look at ink. So Smart Ink is a way that we can annotate over the top of anything, whether it's in a PowerPoint, whether it's a PDF or anything like that as well. So what I've done here is I've just opened up the Smart settings just to make sure that they're all turned on in the right place. To get to this, I've either got this blue kind of square down here, which you may not be able to see, or I can click on the Windows menu and just type in Smart Settings, whichever one's easier for you, to get to these Smart Settings here. And in the Smart Settings here, you can see that Smart Ink Settings appears there. In Smart Ink Settings, if I just click on that one, I've got this one here, and I've got a few options within this. First of all, I need to turn on Smart Ink, and I can see that it's turned on because in a moment, I'm going to get a couple of bubbles appearing up on the board. There we are. So these bubbles here kind of show me that Smart Ink is turned on. Those bubbles are just quick and easy access to be able to annotate over the top of anything. So that's turned on. I'm also, it's a bit granular at the moment, I'm afraid. I'm going to have a look at these settings here, the Microsoft Ink settings. So here, as boring as a long menu of settings is, it is worth just taking a note of which ones are kind of useful for you. So I've had this one here. So Smart Ink's not permanent, it's on that one rather than using the Microsoft one. But I've also enabled the PowerPoint plugin here. This is a really, really key, a really, really useful one for here. Once you've enabled it here and click OK again, it means that when I do open a PowerPoint, I can actually annotate in it. So if I'm going to go full screen, teaching my lesson as normal through PowerPoint, I can flick to go through the lessons, and to annotate on it, it's just simple as pick up a pen and start annotating. I go on to the next page and annotate it on here. And obviously, if you've got multiple pens, being able to annotate with multiple of those, or in fact, if students come up at the same time and doing that at the same time, then you can have that as well. It just kind of takes that PowerPoint in a way that we can share it with our class by just at the front here, but actually I can add those annotations to it and it makes it a bit more dynamic rather than just that static PowerPoint lesson as well in those settings there. And you can see that there's a few extra options within this toolbar here as well, so have a look at those. So briefly going again, but start menu, all the way down to Smart Technologies, and then within there, I've got one that says Smart Settings. In that Smart Settings, just make sure that it's turned on. Look at Smart Ink Settings, make sure it's turned on, and then have a quick look at the Microsoft one as well. And that should just give you a link for that as well.
So hopefully you found those useful. And if you've got any other questions yourself, like I said at the very beginning, feel free to either pop them in the comments below or email me directly and we'll be in touch in that way. So at that point there, if you do want to learn any more information, if you want to know more about how to learn yourself, that's self-surf learning, then feel free to go to this website here, there's a great link. Or if you want to know more about the software or the hardware as well, and that's of course that extended demos, if you want to know more of that sort of side of things, then feel free to be in touch and we can support you with either looking at that side of things, or if you wanted more professional development and me supporting you there as well, please just be in touch and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So again, like I said, this was a recording of the live session where we had some great questions and answers of that as well, and to carry on that conversation as well. If you do want to join live for the next session as well, we're going to look at how to start lessons, how to start engaging with the students as well, and that's going to be on the 18th of November, so please feel free to sign up and we'll see you on that live session as well. So thank you very much for taking your time to watch this. Hopefully that's been useful, and we'll be in touch and hopefully we'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye.